Hello parents everywhere and welcome back to the Homeschool Staff Room. It's Tuesday morning of week 2 here in the UK for homeschooling, and I hope you're all still surviving as the head teachers in your own homeschool. Today I want to talk to you and give you some tips, or really my top tips, quite a few tips in this video about study spaces and the perfect or effective study space that you can create for your child and maybe even yourself if you're thinking about this in terms of your own work while you're at home. So let's get started. One of the big things is to make sure you try and have some form of a designated place to study. And all the research says that if there's a place where you know you go to study or you go to do your work, then you get more into like a mindset of work. So what that means is that you might have, if you're lucky enough to have a flat desk in a bedroom for your child, then that's perfect because that desk signifies when they're working there that they're in that mode. You might, if you don't have that, it might be a dining table, it might be a small table in the house somewhere, but somewhere that's designated as a study space so that when they go there, they're in that mindset. The reverse of that is, and what we say not to do, is to study and do some work on your bed, because the bed signifies relaxing and it doesn't have any kind of connotations of real hard work and focus. So it's really important not to sit on the bed and not to do things when you're lounging around. And that's why we also talked about in a previous video, getting up and getting changed, because it's all about the mindset of actually being in the work mode. So have a designated study space somewhere in your house. And the things I'll talk in now about, they're almost like a wish list really. And you don't have to do them all because they might not be realistic for you to do them because of your physical space or what you have or haven't got in your house. But I'll talk through some of the things, and if you can work towards those, or even if you can only achieve one or two of them, then hopefully it'll be far better than having nothing at all. So once you've got that designated workspace, that study space, and again, this goes for children as well as adults. So you might find as a parent that there's some tips in here for you to, in terms of working from home as well. It's really important that study space is a flat space, so a flat desk, and that's sounds quite simplistic, but it makes a huge difference. We don't want people working on their knee or on a tray or anything. Let's see if we can have that flat desk that's designated. Secondly, it's about making sure it is as clear as possible of clutter. Now, I know what I'm like, that I don't like it when my desk gets cluttered with people dropping things on there. And I like to make sure that it's as free as possible, because I think that it gives me far more headspace when I've got a nice, clear, free, uncluttered desk to kind of organize my thoughts, rather than something that's got boxes everywhere and paper and stuff. It's just not great, and it's not great for us to kind of get into that focused mindset. So that's the second thing. Make sure it's clear and clutter free. Thirdly, it's making sure it's well lit. We don't want people to be straining their eyes. So making sure that that the lights work in the room, or you've got a bulb in there that actually is bright enough. And if possible as well, thinking about where the light comes from. Now, you might not be able to rearrange that much furniture depending on what your room looks like. But if you have got the opportunity, try to make sure that the light is coming from behind. And the reason that's important is because if you're sat in front of a window, there are 2 or 3 reasons why this might be quite problematic. Now, when I first designed my study that I'm kind of standing in right now, we put my desk right in front of the window, and I thought that'd be great, nice light coming in. But when I started kind of doing a lot of my writing there, I found that after a few weeks and months, it was just kind of quite problematic for 2 or 3 reasons. First of all, it was always too bright, and the light was coming right through into my eyes, and I was having to adjust the blinds, and it just wasn't great. So a light coming behind you then lights your study space. So a lot better if you can get the light coming in either from the side or from behind you to light your space rather than coming into your eyes. And secondly, what I found was that I was constantly distracted by looking out of the window. And where I am right now, I look out onto my street. So when I put my desk in front of the window, if anybody walked past, it kind of caught my eye line, and I kind of looked up, and I was kind of daydreaming and looking out of the window. So what I've now done is I've now changed my desk to the other side of my room, and I'm now looking into the wall with the light coming through this way. And what it does is then it kind of focuses my attention more, because I'm looking at that wall and I'm there to work and I'm not just kind of gazing out the window. So I know that might not be that easy for everyone, but if you can do, thinking about where that study space is makes a big difference if there's not a lot of distractions. Next, it's about making sure you've got everything at hand that you need before you start. And that goes from everything from pens, pencils, rulers, calculators, and even down to drinks and snacks. What you don't want to do is get your child sat at their desk in their workspace and tell them they're going to do their 25 minutes, and then 2 or 3 minutes into it, oh, I need a pen, I haven't got this, and they get up and they have to get distracted, they come and, I want a drink. Cut all that out, cut the distractions out, get them sat down, get everything they need, get them a drink, get them a snack, and get them started so they will not move and they don't have to move for those 25 minutes, and they can be really, really focused. And lastly, it's about making sure you've got a comfortable chair, but not too comfortable. You don't want to be slouching, an office style chair or a desk chair where you're kind of, straight back and you can actually work properly at that desk. It's at the right height. You're not kind of stretching upwards to the desk, and equally you're not kind of hunched over the desk because the desk's too low and your chair's too high. So all those little things make a big difference. And I know you might not be able to affect all of them, but certainly if you are working towards those things and you're thinking about those little details that make a big difference in terms of study space, then you'll probably get it right, or at least you'll get it right for your current environment that you're in. So hopefully that's been really helpful, again, for children and for adults as well. This isn't about just children working in homeschooling. This is about actually smart study spaces and real quality, effective studying at home in any environment. So put all those things together. Hopefully you're still sticking in there and you're doing all the little things that we've talked about, and you maybe kind of jigged your schedule for this week. So give it a go, keep going, and like we always say, come on, we can do this.